Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hot Takes and Beer Breaks. I'm your host, John, joined as always by Justin and Jason. How you guys doing today?
Yep.
Hi.
Dandy, I guess.
If you would like to reach the podcast, you can email in at hottakesandbeerbreaks@gmail.com. Follow us at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, all at Hot Takes and Beer Breaks. Let's get into it this week. This week we watched the documentary, or the 30 for 30 by ESPN on Bruce Lee, Be Water.
Yep,
What'd you guys
we
think?
all watched it.
Jason
Yes.
didn't watch it.
The first
watched
10 minutes were pretty good.
Oh, John, you forgot to mention our two special guests today.
Nobody and nobody? I don't...
This is for the YouTube audience only. Yeah, I got our two biggest fans behind us.
Is when it's
you.
a
I
wall
hate you.
fan, does that count as one fan,
It's a
or is
window
that?
fan,
It's
John.
a window fan, John. There are
I
two
said window
separate.
fan.
No,
You
you
said
said
wall.
wall fan.
Oh wow, I'm sorry. I meant
Check the
window
link
fan.
below.
Play the tape back.
No, I believe you. I probably said it wrong. But is it one fan with two separate blades, or is it?
No.
I mean, technically
two
there's a
fans?
bunch of different blades. There's two fans.
Yeah.
Okay,
So you can have
You don't
one-
classify
one
a
in
fan
one
by a
direction and one in the
blade.
other.
I'm not coming
Yeah.
one way or another. I'm just asking the tough questions. You know, the questions our YouTube audience needs to know, and our podcast listeners hate us for talking about right now.
Yeah, all 10 people. It's fine.
Except the
It
YouTube
happens.
audience. They love it.
Well,
They do.
Jason, we're gonna ignore you for right now, but we'll come back to you later because you didn't
So
really
that's
watch it.
mean.
What'd you think of the first 10 minutes? When you got into it and then
It was
got
very
distracted?
interesting. I kind of wish I didn't get distracted and have to, go to work.
Okay,
I would've watched
Justin,
it all.
what'd you think of the documentary
All
series?
2 hours of
It
it.
was good. There wasn't really much that I didn't already know.
Can I be a little harsh?
Go.
I actually thought it was very boring in the beginning.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of things that weren't touched on, like a lot of his philosophies, and I don't know. I felt like there was more things you could have talked about with Bruce Lee, and I don't know if it hit all the points well. It seemed just kind of slow, and you were like, all right, let's kind of get to the better stuff, and once you got there, it was just kind of over, in my opinion.
Do you want to know why?
Why is that?
Try giving a history of comic books.
Mm-hmm. It was very dull in the beginning, and
It's always going to be like if you do the behind the scenes stuff of comic books, it's dull and boring.
yeah.
Bruce Lee was more of a myth and like a larger than life character rather than a person.
Yeah.
Like even in the documentary, there's one point at the end where they said if Bruce Lee didn't pass so young, the like myth of him, the mythology would not be as intense.
Yeah, so Bruce Lee passed away after his was it his fourth U.S. movie, or was it his second U.S. movie with fourth biggest budget? Because there was two in China?
It was...
Or,
I know he at least did Enter the Dragon. Was it Enter the Dragon? It was Way of the Dragon that he passed after. Enter the Dragon was the one with Chuck Norris.
is that one Enter the Dragon? They're both Dragon, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, it is kind of sad to say, right? Like, if he didn't pass away, maybe he isn't as big of a legend as he is today. Like, he passes away, so kind of like the Beatles. Like, the Beatles broke up before they ever had any dull records. Like, if Bruce Lee had bad movies,
the Beatles
maybe.
pumped out a discography so huge that the fact that they did it in this short amount of time, they're their own topic for another day. That theirs is ridiculous.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to but no,
Are
they're
you just saying
incredible.
because they
but-
all had the same haircut at one point?
yeah.
Ah, okay.
No, but I meant they went on such a high, you know what I mean, that no one ever kind of got sick of them and was like, oh, I don't want to listen. Kind of like Bruce Lee, like no one got sick of any of his movies and was like, oh, these aren't that good, or he never had a lull. Like he was going up, 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 and then passed away, and I think it kind of adds to his mythology.
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah.
I mean, you wish he was still here. Obviously, I think he's
Oh,
an
yeah,
incredible
'cause-
actor.
at the very least, he would either be in movies still or directing movies.
Yeah, exactly. And you'd love to see it. I mean, his philosophies and the way he really thought about life was really interesting. And I think he changed Hollywood for the better with what he did.
He changed kung fu forever.
Well, we could talk about that later because I kind of want to get in, if you don't mind. We'll save that for the end.
Oh no,
We'll
I
talk
mind.
about. Okay.
But go on.
Well, I'm glad you mind.
This is why
But
Binder's the host.
I knew he fought Chuck Norris, and that was a really like amazing scene. But I didn't realize he fought Kareem
Oh
in one
yeah,
of his
they were
movies.
boys.
Yeah, that was cool to see. Like because Bruce Lee allowed everyone to join his dojo and learn kung fu. He had so many people around him, which was really interesting to see.
It is funny that in a time where just not still around, but there's a lot of racism towards Chinese people, especially
Hmm.
over there in California. And in
Yeah.
a time where the martial arts world was equally as like segregated, and it's like you have to be from China or something like that. I forget exactly what it was, but it was very select group, didn't allow outsiders in. Then you got
Hmm.
this guy coming over back to the U.S. because he was technically born here to like just include everyone. He didn't care. He was just inclusive, and that like
Which is
yeah,
which is a really great example. Like if you want everyone to be on your side and stop being racist towards Chinese people, which was very much happening at the time. I think he kind of led by example by including everyone in his own martial arts, which was supposed to be segregated.
hmm
So that was incredible to see. Now, do you want to talk about Ip Man, since
it's
you're
Yip,
more of the expert?
it's
That's
Yip,
what I said.
and his last name is Man.
Okay,
Oh no,
because you said you wanted to talk about this.
basically Yip Man was there's a 4-movie series about him, played by Donnie Yen. Basically, Yip Man is the guy who trained Bruce Lee for
Mm.
an extended period of time. And actually, in the 4th movie, Bruce Lee is kind of like a big figurehead in it
Okay.
because basically the journey that Bruce Lee took in real life, it's kind of like that in the movie. So in Ip Man 4, he is traveling to the United States to try and find a school for his son, and it basically just becomes like there's a shit ton of racist stuff in there because
Oh,
back
really?
back basically what the documentary talked about and how bad it was back then. The guy who trained Bruce Lee came over to here, and at the time, Bruce Lee was like very popular, had his own gym, and even the stuff that they talked about in the documentary about how uh, the martial artists masters of the old school mythology, they did not like Bruce Lee because of how inclusive he was.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. I recommend the movie as well because it also tackles race and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, to go on that, like, it was interesting. Like, Hollywood very much made a business decision when they saw some of his movies, even though he was adamant that they would be more popular with him as a lead character. What was that? The TV show where
Oh,
you travel across?
it was like kung fu or something.
But they didn't. Yeah, they didn't believe
It was about a
America's right.
Shaolin monk, and they picked a white dude.
Yeah, they whitewashed the character. I mean, it's really because I think a lot of people talk about today about inclusivity and you know not making every single main character white, and I think that's
Look,
very
Scarlett
much
Johansson should be allowed to play whoever she wants.
okay. But I think that is an old philosophy, and it is interesting to see it kind of get broken in the mold by Bruce Lee and by other people. And
Yeah,
I think that's something to learn, take away from today. That not everything has to be,
it's
take
crazy
chances with your
when people
movies.
realize that being a white person isn't the only, or white people aren't the only people with like talent and can act and can lead a movie and are interesting.
Yeah, yeah, very
It
much so.
is funny that racism has been backing the music industry, or not music. Well,
The
that too,
movie
probably
industry,
everything.
everything. Yeah, I mean,
It's just
all
bad.
these companies and all these film industries and everything make decisions based on money, and they do what they think is best for their bottom dollar. They don't really care about people or what they think.
Yeah,
They
it
care
kind of
about what.
reminds me of like what's happened? It kind of reminds me of like Black Panther.
I
Remember
have
how
no clue.
everyone was like surprised that a like
Yeah,
large African based movie like was very popular?
yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, diversity." Well, people who said that were the movie execs who were like, "Oh, diversity sells." It's like, yeah, no shit. Nobody wants to see the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah, we want to see different stories and different takes and different people. And, we want to have different heroes, I mean, how many people grew up wanting to be Bruce Lee?
Yeah.
I think, with however, main actors look different, we have female leads, different races and nationalities. So many other people are inspired by.
Yeah, like I personally would want to see, like, you can only watch Tom Cruise doing a Tom Cruise thing for so long. Like, even now, I want to see a diverse, like, just anything.
And it's not that those movies are bad or not enjoyable, and no, they shouldn't be put out. But it shouldn't be exclusively that. It shouldn't be like, oh, we made money on this all the time. And I think Bruce Lee really helped break the mold on that.
Yeah.
With his movies and everything.
It's just crazy that a guy with just that much charisma was able to just persevere himself into popularity at a time where nobody wanted to even give him anything because he had a slight accent.
And I think no one would have blamed him at that time, if he just gave up. I mean, he had so many hardships going through, constantly being passed over for roles. He had the role of Kato was kind of minimized. It wasn't paid as much as some of the other characters.
Yeah, even though he was like the selling point.
Exactly. And, he didn't want to play racist stereotypes, which is very much a thing back then. You look at does Breakfast at Tiffany's, do you think, going back to that movie and how it portrays Asian men, do you think that is a slander on that movie? Or do you think you go, that's very much that time and we're glad we don't have movies like that anymore?
No, I'm pretty sure that was a slander back then. Like,
yeah, well, it was obviously
old, right? Like, it's what, the 70s?
60s, right?
It's not even like someone trying to subtly play, and it's a very aggressively racist stereotype, like caricature.
It was 1961.
Oh, thank you.
That old?
Yeah, no problem.
Well, either way,
have you seen?
It's
not the best. Jason, have you seen the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's?
I have, but a long time ago. When you first started talking about it, and you were like, "Oh, does it portray the stereotype?" I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, it's 5 kids in detention." But my head immediately went to the Breakfast Club, not Breakfast at Tiffany's. So that's why I was. I don't know if you saw the look on my face, but I was just very confused. I was like, "Wait, what do you?" I don't think there's an Asian person in that movie. But yeah, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Yeah,
I haven't seen an Asian person in Breakfast at Tiffany's either.
Should we look at that movie and go, that movie is of that time? We don't portray Asian people that way anymore, or we don't really any other movie, where it portrays people in a racist make. Do we look at that and go, we appreciate for the other things, not necessarily this racist aspect of it?
I don't even know what that movie's about, to be honest. All I know is
I haven't seen it.
catchy song about it, and then it's known for just having a racist person or racist caricature of a person.
Yeah, racial undertones.
Well, I mean, look at any movie. I mean,
look at
A Christmas Story is. I don't know if this is necessarily racist, but it does have Asian stereotypes.
Yeah.
At the end, and that's a great movie on its own.
That movie's terrible. It's so stupid.
You don't like that movie?
No, I hate that movie. It's so fucking stupid.
It's a good movie on its own.
I don't think so. I'm not a fan.
But with that one, at least, it's just kind of making fun of the accents.
Yeah.
And it's not like having a bunch of Mickey Rooneys be it. It's like Asian actors.
Yeah, I guess that's the point of it. But
and even like the Mickey Rooney thing is bad, because look at like even the what's his name, John Wayne playing Genghis Khan.
That's bad.
It's not bad. It's bad, but at least he's just literally not even like trying to hide his accent.
Yeah, he's just John Wayne.
Yeah, he's just John Wayne being called Genghis Khan. It's not like he's trying to be aggressively racist with it.
Still pretty bad.
But yeah,
that's definitely a conversation for the next time. But let's get Jason in here, because I think you can finally talk about this topic.
What are we talking about now?
Well, we're going to talk about, because Bruce Lee, we kind of touched on, had the philosophy of including everyone in his martial arts study, and included everyone and multiple different philosophies, and kind of led, he's credited as the father of UFC, a sports program. Yeah. What do you think about the idea that politics and sports should remain separate? Or do you think that politics has always been in sports and it's a mute issue?
I think it's a mute issue. It always is, always will be, regardless.
Okay. Justin, what do you think?
I mean, anyone on the platform is going to be asked what their political views are,
Yeah,
especially
whether you
nowadays
want
where
to or not.
everything's at your fingertips. You want to know what people
Mm.
believe.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's like with some issues, if you don't say anything, then you've made a point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
You're
Silence
deemed a
is.
Yeah.
bad
I mean,
person.
unless like you just haven't been asked. But if you've been asked and you're like, I'd rather not say, it's usually going to lean
Yeah.
towards the negative side.
I
More than
mean,
likely.
you can look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan said at his height of popularity, conservatives buy sneakers too, and that was kind of taken as a slander, I guess you would say. Like, oh, he's a conservative or he's a Republican. Or did he say a Republican buys shoes too? I forget what he said. But I mean,
something
that's
like that.
that could be taken as a political statement. Like, and there's
yeah.
a lot of things.
It is.
Muhammad Ali obviously didn't want to go to Vietnam. Jesse Owens held up his Black Power fist at the Olympics, but was more of a sign of the U.S. dominance over
I
Hitler.
would say that was for a lot more reasons.
Well, no, that was a lot more. I'm
One
sorry,
of
I'm
my
not trying to
favorite
simplify.
moments in sports.
It's a really
Yeah.
great moment.
His movie was fantastic too, by the way. The
And I
Jesse Owens
think,
movie.
Yeah.
well, even, earlier this week, Drew Brees had his comment, which a lot of people took as insensitive. But I mean, he's allowed to think it. I don't know if it's necessarily the most educated viewpoint, but I don't know if we should kill him for saying it. I think we should more correct him for his incorrect statement. Right?
So with that, he said something about like there's no excuse for disrespecting the flag or something like that.
Yeah, some nonsense
And
like
then
that. Yes.
after the fact, he was saying, or like people were saying that they talked to him and they explained the situation.
Yeah.
Like teammates of his.
So like that's how it should be. Like you should be entitled to your opinion, and if you are willing to take constructive criticism, then that's a good thing.
Like, for me personally, I believe that Colin Kaepernick should have the ability to kneel for the flag, and I personally don't take it as a disrespect. I think it's using your First Amendment rights, and that's what these service members, the brave men and women that fought for this country, fought for. I think it's more of a disservice not to use it. But if you want to come back with a great critique or something, I'm all here for hearing every single side. But I think what's more surprising is, you have Laura Ingraham, a Fox News host specifically, when LeBron James speaks his mind, she tells him to shut up, that he's an athlete. He needs to stay in his lane. But when Drew Brees speaks up, he's speaking his opinion. He should have that opinion. And I don't disagree with her second take, but she didn't have the same viewpoint for LeBron James.
She's probably not a good person.
Why is that?
Well, because it was opposing what she believes.
Yeah, which is what I think it boils down to.
And
so I think
on both sides, if somebody on the look at the Trump and Biden thing when the rape allegations came out. All the people who were like all for we got to get Trump. He's touching people who don't want it. It's like, yeah. Then when the allegations came out against Biden, it's
dead quiet.
Being so righteous. If it's against your side, you attack. If it's not, you defend.
Yeah.
And
but
that's
I mean,
what's dumb right now.
I don't disagree. Jason, do you have anything to add to that point?
No, people are stupid.
I think sports is an incredible thing where everyone can kind of come together, and you don't have to appreciate Colin Kaepernick or Drew Brees' viewpoints, but I think you're allowed to root for them on the field. You can think Drew Brees is unintelligent off the field, but then when you might be a Saints fan, you're like, I'm still going to root for him. You can differentiate that. It's not against the rules to say, hey, I think he might be a bad person. Like, I don't think Drew Brees is a bad person. I hope no one takes that way. I think he might be wrong in his viewpoints.
John, we all know you hate his guts. It's fine.
There we go, yeah. But you're allowed to root for the player and go, okay, I'm rooting for him as an athlete, and I'm not going to support his beliefs, but I am going to support his way to say it. And just as long as you're allowed to root for Colin Kaepernick when he plays, and say, I don't agree with his message. You're allowed to do that, but politics is a great place for us.
Question, John, in terms of look at movies and any like art and stuff like that. If you disagree with the artist, can you separate the art from the artist? Can you separate the player from the political views?
Personally, I can. I mean, I guess it's easier sometimes than others, but I don't want to like take O.J. Simpson's accolades away because he may or may not be a murderer, or Ray Lewis for the same reasons.
Yeah, Ray Lewis. I was
Now,
chat about
someone,
him.
yeah, but it's more like off the field we should condemn them off the field, but if they're on the field, achievements should be praised unless they do something to cheat on the field. You know what I mean? Like if there's steroids involved or something to cheat the game. But
Yeah, I mean,
You're
I guess.
okay if they're a terrible person off the field as long as they're good on the field. Is that what
hold
you're
on,
getting at?
No, I don't want to. I meant
Because
you.
that's kind of what it sounds like.
No, what I meant was sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry if that came across that way. What
That
I meant
definitely came
is
across that way.
if there's something off the field, like let's say a sexual assault or a sexual abuse, like we see that across the league, right? They should be condemned outside the league. So I think they should be punished, and I think um they should be handled outside. But if like everything's okay there, maybe they should be. Maybe that's wrong. Now you're making me question everything. Now I think I'm
Yeah,
wrong this
John,
whole
come
time.
on. How are you going to defend this?
I
Yeah, you're
can't.
saying, oh yeah, they can rape and murder as many people as they want off the field, but on the field, they're a perfect angel. We don't care about that anymore.
Oh
That's
wow,
kind of what
now.
you're coming off as saying, and I know you don't mean that, but that's
No, I
kind of what it's
don't.
coming off
No,
Well,
as
John,
no,
hear me out
saying.
like
no.
this. So
I meant just
should
fine.
you
I'm
not
sorry. I meant
anything that
just
happened beforehand of a scandal or something bad shouldn't be taken away from them. However, after the fact, how they respond to it, are they punished, and stuff like that, after should be taken into account their personality.
yeah.
You can't say that what's his name?
Ray Rice.
Let's say like Louis C.K. His
Oh, okay.
his old stand-ups are hilarious. You can't take that away from him. Am I gonna go
Yeah.
run to see a new special by him? No.
Okay. Yeah. I guess that's a
Your
good
point of
point.
view kind of changes once you hear that this guy has all these
Mhm.
allegations against him, whether they're true or not. Your point of view changes.
Yeah. That you guys made me really because I think I explained it really terrible. I meant more
Yeah.
people's point of view. I meant more like LeBron James. I shouldn't have
Yeah, but
talked about
LeBron
like
James isn't doing anything bad.
No.
no, of course not. No. Yeah, because I
That
really
we know
hate
of.
the way that the NFL handles sexual assault. I think they do a terrible job.
Oh my God,
And
they're the
regular
absolute worst with it.
assault and all
They're
the other
Just
they're just
stuff.
so
anything.
bad at it all.
But
Like
And mental health.
you smoke weed, you're done for the whole season. You rape a girl, yeah, we'll look into it.
You can
that
go back
make
to the
yeah
playoffs.
that makes
Yeah,
no
like, it's
sense.
so
That
fucking
should
stupid.
because that's an aspect where I don't think they're being handled outside the court of like opinion. You know what I mean? So I think that should be probably handled. Oh, this is another topic for another day, or do we just go into it all the way?
Screw it, let's go.
Yeah, because
Sure.
well, I had a conversation I wrote in college. I wrote a paper, and it was
I
basically
wrote
when
a
all
paper
the
too in
sexual assault.
college.
Oh, nice.
I didn't write any.
I talked to a sexual assault expert,
Mhm.
or no, it was domestic abuse. Sorry, it was domestic abuse, and it was talking about all the domestic abuse scandals going on. And I asked her, the counselor, I asked her like her opinion, and she said people who commit domestic abuse typically they're not proud of it. Typically, like they're not people that want to commit domestic abuse. So they when they do find help, they seek that help out, and then they typically won't commit again. And if they do, they come back to seek help again. It's kind of like if you're taking a drug, right? And you're constantly like you shouldn't be taking this drug, so you go back to rehab every single time you fall off the wagon or you seek help every time. It would be kind of similar to that. So I think like players who are accused of domestic abuse should go into therapy and should be out of the league for however long until a therapist goes, okay, they've been rehabilitated, whether that's a year, 2 years, 3 years, however long it is, Disagree or agree?
Yeah, that's a fair
Yeah.
point to make.
But also, they shouldn't
I don't
be
know.
treated any differently than if somebody assaulted or sexually assaulted like if
Yeah.
regular people are doing it. They should be treated equally within the law, and if they have to
No,
go
yeah,
serve time, they go serve time. You shouldn't
Yeah.
be
absolutely.
get any different because you're either rich or you throw or catch a ball.
I guess we can talk about like the whole other time about the differences in the criminal justice system with sexual assault and how someone like Brock Turner gets basically 3 months. Someone who smokes weed could be in jail for like several years.
Well, that's a racism thing.
Yeah. That's a whole nother issue.
There's a lot of stuff to it.
Yeah.
This
The world's
this
just so
devolved.
fucked up.
Well, I meant
Yeah, we
with my
also took a
original
sharp
point,
left turn.
we should differentiate people's opinions in politics from what they do as an artist. So if
What about what they did?
what they did as a personal, like what do you mean?
Instead of what they do, what they did. You can't take away what they did prior, but once
Well,
information comes out, you can't look at them the same after the fact.
I mean, I think it's well noted Drew Brees and Tom Brady are Republicans in an all. I mean, if you're a Democrat, that shouldn't take your opinion away from rooting for them on the field. You know what I mean? Like they're allowed to vote Republican just as much as someone's allowed to vote Democrat. And if you're a Republican, you don't have to not vote for that.
But what happens
we
if like Tom Brady got on Twitter and got a video of him just saying like some really right-wing stuff or some like racist stuff?
racist stuff? No, get him out of here. I meant more like if he was like, oh, I believe there should be lower taxes or less government oversight. I mean, that's his prerogative to say.
Yeah,
Not
that's
nothing
one thing.
racist.
But when you say something like targeted, like nobody should disrespect the flag, there's a reason why you're saying it.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
So
it was a weird interview, though. I think he got. What's up?
That needs to be accounted for. But also, if they learn something from the situation, people shouldn't. That's another thing. People are so easy to just like, if someone did something wrong, it's gone.
Yeah.
Instead of like, hey, how about we teach them or just let them.
I'm sure someone's gonna clip the whole part where I'm basically advocating for killers and everyone.
Oh, that's the only
and
point
take that
I recorded
out of context because I really didn't mean that. That was incredibly bad. I meant
the
just
title of this
people's
episode
opinions.
is going to be OJ's okay.
Well, this wasn't a conversation supposed to be about Bruce Lee and his incredible legacy and how, his ability to bring people together, all different types of people, and really get them to think about the world in a different way, I think should be something we all take.
Mm-hmm.
If, we all went to a Black Lives Matter movement this past weekend, and I thought that was a really good thing to see. And I think if you disagree with it, maybe you should go see it and actually experience it. And if you still don't like it after, I mean, I don't know how you wouldn't take that, but
It's a horrible human being, but
yeah, just go see, experience, get involved, listen and learn.
Educate yourself.
It's like with
things normal people do.
like a lot of people down I'm going to make a stereotype, like a lot of people like down south and people who are kind of like off the beaten path
Mm-hmm.
could easily be more racist. Because if you look at it like this, if they have never interacted with anyone who's like black or Mexican or anyone like that, like all they've heard is like these negative things about them, and it's just constant passing down of knowledge, air quote, to the like of false information or like something like that. It's like in the Bruce Lee documentary, if people have never like really seen or hung out or met or really interacted at all with someone who's Chinese, and especially like in a movie exec, they're not gonna like green light a thing because they're like, oh, how do I know this guy's gonna be fine? And then of course, because people are prone to putting people in groups, they're like, okay, I don't know this person, so all of them are in.
Yeah, and that's a completely wrong way to look at the world.
Exactly. That's why
So
people in cities tend to be a little more liberal because you're around more people. You're interacting with different cultures and everything like that. When you're
Did you know actually?
Huh?
Did you actually know New England's actually the most segregated school system in the country?
That makes sense.
Why?
I'm thinking more like New York City and stuff like that.
Yeah, you interact with a whole bunch of different people, and
yeah.
But I think
The New England school systems are the most. Oh wait, no, that makes sense. Never mind. You said
Yeah, 'cause
segregated, not diversified.
yeah. So it
Okay,
was, I guess, like
that makes sense.
when
You don't have to explain. I just mixed up
yeah.
words.
Look up the history of that. It's interesting. But I don't know, like even this podcast, like even us, I think we probably say a lot of dumb things all the time that we don't mean or whatever. We're
Most
always
of the
willing
things
to
we
I
say
learn.
are
mean
dumb.
everything I say.
Yeah.
I'll quote that, and let's make a clip show next week.
Nice.
Okay. But any final thoughts? Anything else you guys want to touch on this week?
OJ
I don't
is
know, we could
okay.
talk about the MLB first year player draft, which is going on right now, which is very exciting stuff.
Wait, what?
The Major League Baseball draft.
I didn't know
Guys
they
that
had a
we
draft.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Well, I knew they had a draft. Is it televised or is it just
Yeah, it's televised. I believe I don't know if it's on ESPN, but it's definitely on the MLB network.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, we get to watch guys get drafted that might sign, they might go back to college.
Oh.
Who knows? You never know.
It's only
And you
two
won't hear
rounds,
from these
right?
players.
If I get offered a
No.
contract, I am signing immediately. Why would you go back and play?
Yeah.
more?
I'll give you
To get more money.
Oh.
So like I'm trying to think. I think there's like 40 some odd rounds. That might be an understatement. There might be more. This year they cut it back because of the whole like COVID shit. But, like if I go out there and like coming out of high school, great, I'm best pitcher in the state or whatever. I get drafted out of high school in like the 35th round. I'd be like, nah, you know what? I'm better than that. I'm gonna go to college, take my D1 scholarship, go to college, become better, and then after 2 years or whatever, throw in again. Oh, cool, I'm up to 20. Nah, let's go one more year, and then I'm a first round prospect. Yeah, you
Makes
lose
sense.
a little bit, but like it's baseball. You don't see the major leagues. Most people don't see the major leagues till like 5-6 years, anyways. Like it's a
Okay.
very long time for most people.
How does baseball make so much money?
You play
I-
182 games.
And like, but like,
Think about
do
it.
you
They
guys watch
generate.
baseball?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
No,
Well, we go to the
Xander, you
game
watch the
sometimes.
Mets. Do you guys watch baseball?
I hate you. But no, like if you
Uh
think about it from like a financial standpoint, baseball will generate the most per home game because you have so many.
Just because ads and like ticket sales
Well, yeah,
and
you
everything.
you have 82 home games,
And beers
whereas
cost like
football,
$30 a
yeah, that too.
freaking can.
well,
Football, you get what, 8 home games,
how many of those
right?
tickets go for like premium dollar amounts? Like there's the New York Yankees has tickets that will go up to several $100s. I think some even into the thousands, right? For like luxury
Some
box
will be
seats and everything.
1,000. Yeah,
But you can have so many seats like that, whereas football, I don't think you can necessarily do that. Like a lot of the seats are kind of like you can get really good seats for basically like $300, which I don't even know if baseball good seats go to that price. I think they go much higher, unless they're
I
the
mean
Mets.
it depends where you are. Like being around New York and Boston, the ticket prices are automatically higher.
Mm.
Mm.
But that's the same as football too in basketball. If you go
Well,
like
football's
down
higher just
south,
because there's what, 16 games?
yeah, there's only 8 home games you play, not counting playoffs. But like, so
Hockey's
if you
probably
go out to the
expensive, same
Midwest,
reason.
things are going to be cheaper. Hockey, I think hockey and the NBA are probably around the same because they play around the same amount of home games.
Mm.
Mhm.
But like once again, by Boston and New York. Everything's going to be fucking higher. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, like everything
Whereas
at the Knicks
you
tickets
go
are
out to
ridiculous.
Colorado, yeah, and they're terrible. It's
They
stupid.
are.
You go out to Colorado, you can go see the Nuggets play and the Avalanche play for next to nothing.
Yeah.
Like $100, and you can sit fucking ringside, courtside, ice side. I don't know. I don't know the expression for courtside seats at a hockey game.
Ice side.
I don't know.
The coldest seat.
Glass side. Like I don't know.
Glass adjacent seats.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
It's puck
But
and
yeah, so
grape.
No, we get it.
there we go. Yeah.
All right. So, do we want to end it here after
Well,
we
I
went
will
from?
say, hot take. City Field is one of my favorite fields to go to.
I
Really?
love City Field.
I like how it's set up.
Yeah.
It's one of
With
the
one
food
of
the
good
food's
ones.
great too.
Yeah, can't deny.
Okay,
it.
that's
My
fair.
favorite one to ever go to was Camden Yards, though.
Oh,
In
Baltimore.
Baltimore,
Yeah.
I heard Baltimore's beautiful. Like it's a great ballpark.
Yeah, it just don't go there at night,
Oh,
or don't
okay.
leave there at night.
Yeah.
Mm,
Stay in the stadium.
Yeah.
there we go.
All right. Well, that's our podcast for the week. You can
Yeah, it was a
email in
shit
at
show.
hottakesandbeerbreaks@gmail.com. Any suggestions for next week's story or any
Yeah,
following
please,
things?
please
We
give
will
us shit to
literally
talk
do
about.
anything.
Whoa, Justin, whoa.
Anything.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at Hot Takes and Beer Breaks. And that's the show for the week. Thank you.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.